Good thing the mic didn't turn right away. I'm very winded after that. Thank you for joining us. The next piece, the piano concerto, at the beginning of every spring semester, we have a competition for the music students to play for outside judges, and the winners get to play with a Symphonic Wind Ensemble or with the orchestra. And next, you will hear one of those winners, Sylvia Wood. So please allow me to get the piano ready for her. We'll tune, and then Sylvia will be out to play the first movement of Prokofiev's third piano concerto. And please allow us a few minutes to reset the stage and remove the piano.
Shostakovich wrote this for the Bolshoi Theater Orchestra in 3 days. Last September, we spent a little bit more time than that rehearsing it. The dust off yesterday.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lori Bayevsky. I am Dean of the College of the Arts and Media, and I'd like to welcome you all here tonight for a very special School of Music Convocation. And I'd like to give a shout out to Dr. Luis Milan and the University Symphony Orchestra for the amazing first half concert that we all experienced. Yes. And thank you to Dr. James Smart and the Symphonic Wind Ensemble for really such a moving tribute to Ralph and Norma Hartzys. We'll be hearing much more this evening about, gosh, I'm a little bit choked up. It was, the talent in this school is just mind-boggling. It's, everybody, I know a lot of the musicians are down front, and thank you so much for everything that you've brought to make this year a success. You've worked so hard, and we're so proud of you. And tonight we're honoring Ralph and Norman Hartzys, and we're also honoring you, all of our students here tonight. And we're really grateful for the students, the families, the friends, and the many people in the audience here who have come from all walks of life to be here tonight. And as we celebrate this evening, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that the University of Montana, including this beautiful theater where we are experiencing this amazing concert tonight, is in the Aboriginal territories of the Salish and the Kalispel people. We honor the paths that they have always shown us in caring for this place for generations to come. Last year was an incredible year for the School of Music, pandemic aside. In addition to over $200,000 in scholarships, and these are all recognized in your program that we awarded this last year, we also finished phase 1 of the music school building renovation project. And I just want to give a moment, I want to give a shout out to, this was made possible by 3 very, very generous lead donors. The McCannon family, George and Lillian McCammon, as well as Don and Donna McCammon, Diana and Richard Nash, and John and Sue Talbot. And I also want to just take a brief moment to recognize John's passing. We lost him last year. And I think many of us have really felt his absence across the valley, across the state of Montana. And You know, when we talk about legacies and legacy gifts, the major renovations to the facilities that we are all sitting in, just right across, right there, allow us to improve our practice rooms, redesigned our instrumental and choral rehearsal rooms. It includes acoustical improvements and also new instructional and recording technologies in these really beautiful new spaces. And I think Don and Donna are in the audience if anybody wants a tour after. Thank you. I think Don might be up for a quick tour if anybody's interested. So, and this year, because of the generosity of Dr. Christina Hartzys, we are excited to announce, we're actually like thrilled, excited, like over the moon, ecstatic to announce our very first endowed professorship for music in the history of the School of Music, in the history of the College of the Arts and Media. And this is called the Ralph, wow, I can't believe I'm messing this up. This is the first time we're announcing this. The Ralph J. and Norma M. Hartzys Endowed Professor of Bands. Now you may applaud, yes. This extraordinary gift represents momentum, which is really part of a three-part vision for our students here in the School of Music that we've had. We've been really pushing this for quite a while. And part one are all of the scholarships that are mentioned in the program that so many of you here tonight have supported to make a first-class education more affordable for every single one of our students. The second part are the renovations I just mentioned, which provide our students with more inspiring spaces to learn, to create, to make music. And lastly, this Hartzys professorship is really such an amazing step forward towards attracting and retaining the very best faculty for our students and for the state of Montana. Our dream is that Dr. Hartzys' generosity will inspire others to contribute towards this important third prong. And I just want to say, in fact, that we've already begun the next stage conversations, and this gift has already begun to inspire further gifts. And tonight, in tribute of Ralph and Norma Hartzys' lasting legacy in music education, we will be hearing remarks and some fond remembrances from three individuals who hold them very, very dear. Truman O'Brien, John Combs, and Dr. Christina Hartzys is here with us tonight. Our first guest is Truman O'Brien, a retired captain in Alaska. He worked for Alaska Airlines. And he is a proud graduate of the University of Montana and was a member of Ralph Hartzys' Custer County Concert Band, as well as the pep band and the marching band. Our second speaker is John Combs. Ralph Hartzys was John's beloved band director and mentor, also a graduate of the Custer County High School and the University of Montana. I think I just want to keep saying that, the Custer County Concert Band. Everybody, let's hear it. The Custer County, yeah, I know, right? John Combs, he went on to an extraordinary career as a Montana music educator. He was director of bands at Hellgate High School. He held that position for 28 years, after which he served as fine arts supervisor for Missoula County Public Schools. In 2020, he was awarded the Distinguished Service Award for Lifetime Achievement in Music Education by the Montana Music Educators Association. And he is currently, I'm very pleased to let you know, he's currently serving as president of the University of Montana Alumni Bands. Yeah, man, yeah. And lastly, we will hear from Dr. Christina Hartzys, daughter of Ralph and Norma Hartzys. Dr. Hartzys received her PhD from the University of Chicago, and she currently serves as clinical director of Sano Sleep Center in El Paso, Texas. She has extensively experience in teaching, researching, and it's really interesting, in the area of human sleep disorders. And as I learned yesterday when she visited our Oboe Studios reed-making class, she is also quite the musician herself. So now I would like to welcome to the stage our very first speaker, Truman O'Brien.
Thank you, Dean. I have to tell you that I don't know that I've ever been more proud to be a graduate of this fine institution after hearing those kids. Wow, you guys knocked me out, totally knocked me out. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just want to say one more thing about that. You know, I graduated back in 1972, and I had a double major in psychology and anthropology, and I became an airline pilot. The only reason for saying that is that I just want to encourage you fine young folks to stick with it, no matter what. I know you're going to get discouraged, it's going to be tough, but that degree is going to open doors for you that you'll never imagine. So anyway, that's just what I want to say about that. I was really fortunate to be a tenor sax player in the Custer County High School band program, the whole program, because there's more than just a concert band. It's from my freshman year in 1960 to just after my senior year in 1964. The early 60s were a real whirlwind time for our band program, highlighted by two seminal events, which I'll talk about in a minute. But first I wanted to talk about Ralph Hartzys. Mr. Hartzys didn't just teach music. He taught discipline, he taught perseverance, he taught dedication, tolerance, improvisation, and I'm not talking about musical improvisation, I'm talking about being able to improvise, to think on your feet when you needed to. And when it came time for a performance, he taught perfection, and boy, he demanded it, I'm telling you. From broad straight lines when you were marching or performing on the football field at halftime, or if you were to be perfectly in tune, and no toe tapping during a performance, oh baby, you would incur the wrath of Dr. Hartzys if he caught you tapping your foot to the music. Oh boy, I saw one up here today. Watch it, he'll be back. So it sounds like I'm describing a tyrant. And believe me, at times he was tyrannical. I mean, we all remember the shattered batons on the music stand when he was trying to beat something into our boneheads, or more likely trying to get our attention back, to what we were supposed to be doing. But not only that, he taught compassion, cooperation, caring, humor, and always fun. Lots and lots of fun, I'm telling you. When you enrolled in the Custer County band program, you didn't just get to be in the band. I mean, you had to try out. You had to audition for Mr. Hartzys. And try as I might, I don't remember the audition, but I do remember the results. B band with all the other honkers and squeakers. I didn't make A band. But you know what? It was a great time because we were a smaller group, and we had the opportunity to get a lot more personal time with Mr. Hartzys. And I learned the proper embouchure, posture, breathing, and being able to sight read music a little better. I think I made A band sometime during the second semester of my first year, because I know I started my sophomore year in A band, and also I made pep band, which I'll talk about in a minute. Now, when I talk about A band, A band consisted of two bands, really. There was about a 100-piece marching band. And of course we played marches, and we played popular music and a few show tunes and that sort of thing. And then there was a concert band, which had a few more students in it, because we added some instruments like the contrabass clarinet, the bassoons, oboe, thank you, Christina, and timpani. And we played, of course, all of the same music that the marching band played, including, now this blows me away, I have to tell you. Of course, we did Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture, which we loved. And at the end, we actually had chimes for the church bells. And I don't know where he got it, but he had a cannon. He located a real cannon about this big, which was fired. Really exciting stuff. We played Rossini's William Tell Overture, of course, and we loved the Lone Ranger part, of course. And I did not know that you were going to play Crown Imperial tonight, but boy, oh boy, was that thing difficult to learn. I never will forget that. And of course, that was written in 1937 for the coronation of King George VI in England. I also mentioned that he taught compassion and cooperation. And I have to tell you about an incident that will demonstrate this. We had a part, and I don't remember the piece, I'm sorry, but we had a young timpani player, young girl, and there was a very complicated rhythm. And try as she might, she could not get that rhythm. And Mr. Hartzys would tap it out, not breaking his baton this time, tap it out on the music stand, and then he would clap it. And finally he said, "Okay, band, all together." And we all began clapping that rhythm. And we did it, and we did it, and we did it until she got it. So I thought that was very compassionate of him and showed us cooperation. Okay, the pep band. The pep band was about a 30-piece, thereabouts, group from the top players of the A band. We played a lot of jazz, Dixieland, popular songs of the time, and many of the, in fact, all of the solos, I think, and many of the pieces that we played were actually arranged by Mr. Hartzys. We played at all the basketball games. In fact, we even played Sweet Georgia Brown when the Harlem Globetrotters came to town. That was a lot of fun. So now I'm to the point where I need to tell you about the two big incidents or two things that we're really known for. In June of 1962, the pep band was invited to Denver, Colorado to play for the Kiwanis International Convention. With the help of the local Kiwanis Club, the band raised the money to charter a Greyhound bus, which we had for the full time we were there. And we were scheduled to play 3 venues, and these are only 3 I remember. We might have done more, but it's been a day or 2 since we did that. The first one was the Secretary's Luncheon at the Brown Palace Hotel. And I remember we rolled up in the Greyhound bus, all in uniform. We had black trousers, white shirts, bow ties, and these gold corduroy jackets. Oh, we were styling, I'm telling you. But we rolled up, and Mr. Hartzys went in to check the venue where we were to play. He's gone quite a while. And when I said he taught us how to improvise, because when he came back, he said, that room was way too small. We can't get 30 of us in there and play. So I've talked to the manager of the hotel, and he's going to let us play in the lobby. Well, I don't know if you've ever been to the Brown Palace Hotel in Denver, but the lobby is enormous. And it goes up, there's an atrium that goes up, I think 6 stories. And coming up off the lobby is a large staircase which goes up to the mezzanine. Mr. Hartzys brought those 30 players in, lined us on that staircase, and to this day I don't know how we got all of our music stands and everything up there, but we started playing. People came out of their rooms 6 stories up. They began dancing in the halls. They were hanging over the railing. They came in off the street. They were dancing. We rocked the palace, I'm telling you. It was great. Our next concert was to be played at the old Shirley Savoy Hotel, which is no longer in Denver. And the only thing I remember about this concert is one of the pieces that we played was a Dixieland version of the Battle Hymn of the Republic, or as Mr. Hartzys called it, the Cannon Fodder Rag, which we all loved. But to begin that, there was a large crowd there. There must have been 200 people at this dinner. And when you start the Battle Hymn of the Republic, it started out almost as a dirge. It was just this beautiful melodic piece. And Jim Faulkner, who was about 6'2" and about that big around, stood up and played the most beautiful trumpet solo imaginable. And when I looked out over the crowd, I saw several people stand up and put their hands over their heart, and I thought, oh no, we're about to break into this Dixieland piece. And I wanted to go, please sit down, please sit down. And about that time, the drum section took off, and bam, off we went. I guess it came out all right, though, because we got a standing ovation out of it, so it was cool. The last thing that we were to play was the main delegate session. It was held in the Denver Convention Center. And I've read several accounts of this, and they said there was between 10 and 16,000 people. When these kids from Miles City walked out, we looked out and we thought there was 50,000 people. We never played before a group that large before. And we were supposed to play for like 15 minutes before the meeting. So we began playing, and we had a 3-song set that we were going to play. Oh, and by the way, I should mention, we had, sitting out on front of the stage was a trap set, set of drums, right? The full set. And the first couple of songs we played, man, we really had the place jumping. And the last song we played, I don't remember what the melody was, but we had a drummer. His name was Doug Binge. Doug was, today he's about 6'2" and a gray-haired, distinguished gentleman. In those days, he was less than 5 feet tall and had flaming red hair. And he came out and played the drums. The crowd went berserk, truly berserk. They were running up with their cameras, taking pictures, and the whole bit. When we got through, we got a standing ovation from 16,000 people who were shouting, "More, more, more." So the president of the Kiwanis said, "Can you folks play for us some more?" Could we play for some more? Are you kidding me? We could play all afternoon. In fact, we did. What happened was, he said, "We're going to be voting in between our business meetings, so can we bring you fine folks back out to play?" We spent all day there. I don't remember how long now, but it was a long time. And we would come out and play for 15 minutes while they were voting, and then go back off. One of the things we played was the twist. And we had Oscar Ronning, who played trombone, and Janet Jensen, who was an alto sax player, got up and danced the twist in front of the band. There was a delegate from Texas who came running up and said, "You have to do that again. I've got to dance with her." So we did. And then place went crazy. Okay, the next event. In 1964, it was the Montana Territorial Centennial and the Montana Statehood Diamond Jubilee. They were concurrent. And I need to read an article, an excerpt from an article. This is from the Signal Butte, which was the high school paper. This is written by Karen Williams. She said, "The Custer County High School pep band caused such a stir and a tremendous response at Denver in June of 1962 that this is only another step toward an ultimate goal of national recognition. Such was the general opinion in Miles City, here voiced by Chamber of Commerce Secretary Rick Webb, concerning the recent proposal from the Portland Rose Festival Committee for the Custer County High School Band should represent Montana in the Portland Grand Floral Parade on June 13th. Can you believe it? The distinct problem arose, however, due to the Rose Festival requirement that each state that wishes to be represented by a band must also enter a float in the floral parade. And the Montana Centennial Commission decided against sending a float. So Miles Cityans were forced to take the initiative and plan a float on our own. The city of Miles City, at what, 9,500, 10,000, 11 maybe at the outside, raised $10,000 in 1964 dollars. That's $93,000 in today's money. Is that amazing? And sent the band to Portland. The first stop on the way to Portland was in Helena, and we stopped to play. I think the Chamber of Commerce set up a concert for us there. And we played that night, and amazingly, folks, you ready for this? That's a CD of that concert. Thank you, Dr. Christina Hartzys. She had a reel-to-reel tape of this, and we converted it to a digital format, and we now have that concert. I got to tell you what, we were pretty darn good, you know what? I listened to this thing a dozen times at least. All right, so anyway, next stop, we stopped in Spokane. We played at a baseball game, before a baseball game, and try as I might, and I've asked all the people that were there, none of us remember it. And I don't know if we were just too tired or what, but we went on. Anyway, when we got to Portland, we had 3 Greyhound buses. And everywhere we went in Portland, we had a motorcycle escort with blue lights and sirens, and they would stop the traffic, and we came flying through. We thought we were the Queen's coronation or something. It was just amazing. So on the float, we found a float maker who would build our float for half price. And it did say the Montana Territorial Centennial and the Jubilee, but by golly, we had Miss Miles City, Carol Fisher, riding on that float. We weren't going to have anybody else. So when we were going to be judged during the parade, so the first thing we had to do was to march into the Coliseum. We stood at attention before we went in, and Mr. Hartzys said, "High school kids are not able to stand without fidgeting. I don't want to see anyone move." My friend Bruce Wilson, who was a drummer, said, "I don't think I blinked. We did not move." And we finally got ready to go into the Coliseum. They blew the whistle and off we went. And those drummers, instead of 144 beats per minute, I think it was 190. We just flew into there. And oh, by the way, I don't know if I can demonstrate this, but we used what we called a high knee lift march. The high knee lift is like this. Come up. Okay. Now, of course, I was a little younger then, but we marched with that high knee lift. That parade is 6 miles long. We played the Montana State song. That's the only song we played. And at the very beginning of the march, Darla Nansel, who played saxophone, had the neck strap on her saxophone break. And when I say saxophone, it was a baritone saxophone. And she marched 6 miles carrying that baritone saxophone and playing it all the way. When we got to the end of the parade, here's a letter from a former Montana resident. This is written to Mr. Albrecht, who was the vice principal. Congratulations to your marching band and their director and your administrative staff. We were very proud to see the well-organized and sharp-stepping Custer County High School band performing at the Rose Festival Parade, Portland. The physical condition of your band members gave high-spirited music and good organization, while many other groups wilted and pooped as they passed our vantage point. And I can tell you that with Mr. Hartzys marching back, nobody was going to wilt or poop in that group, I can tell you right now. When we got to the end of the parade, I'd forgotten this, but Chris reminded me, when we got to the end of the parade, all the other bands had flaked out and were off to the side of the road. We marched all the way to our buses, and the other bands applauded us as we marched by. It was so cool. Oh, by the way, we took first place of all the Class A schools. That's any school with more than 500 students. A little band from Miles City, Montana, rocked that place. Can you believe it? So I mentioned at the beginning that some of the attributes that Ralph Hartzys imparted to his students. What I think he gave us was the tools to lead successful lives. Really a blueprint that left an indelible impression on all of the students that he had over all of the years. And I think all of myself and my fellow band members will be forever grateful for that experience. And so I wanted to just say thank you to Dr. Christina Hartzys, for this wonderful gift to the school. And more importantly, thank you, University, for accepting that and for honoring these incredibly wonderful people. So thanks a lot.
Truman, thank you so much for those words. That's great. My sister was in that band with you. She was one of the drummers. It's great. Miles City, Montana. Miles City, the cow capital of the world. Home of the world-famous bucking horse sale. Miles City, Montana, where the radio station call letters are KATL. Miles City, home of the Custer County High School Cowboys. How in the world did a cow town in eastern Montana wind up with a high school music program that every town in the nation deserved to have? There's only one answer: Ralph and Norma Hartzys. A successful music program requires that you provide your students with appropriate pedagogy, a schedule that allows for growth and development, and a support system that promotes the arts. However, none of that means a thing if you don't have a dedicated and knowledgeable set of music educators. In fact, you might get by without the system of support, but you have to have those teachers. As a kid growing up, I had no idea of what things were like in the rest of the world. It wasn't until I left home and started working in my chosen profession that I became more and more amazed and humbled at the gift I'd been given. Norma Hartzys' choral program in Miles City was simply outstanding. how many high school choirs perform Handel's Messiah? I don't just mean the venerated Hallelujah chorus, but the entire work, all three parts. High school kids singing the arias and the recitatives and all the rest. It was one of the absolute highlights of my young music life, and I got to do it twice. Mr. Hartzys' band program had been achieving outstanding success for decades by the time I got there. Superior ratings at District Music Festival were expected, and not just from the band and choir, but from all the soloists and ensembles that they produced. At the end of our district festival, each judge was supposed to select the best of the day for an evening program on the last day of the two-day festival. The vast majority of that concert was always made up of students from Custer County High School, sometimes completely so. Mr. and Mrs. Hartzey did more than just give you a path to musical success. They demanded that if you were on that path, you were going to do what was ever necessary to succeed, not for their glory, but for the ensemble, for your own personal development. What I learned from the Hartzys was that you simply didn't give anything less than your best effort. And if you didn't know what best effort looked like, you just had to glance up at the podium. They cared about how things sounded. They cared about how things looked. They cared about what was happening in their classrooms. They cared about you as individuals. What we discovered was that the music program was a path to defining and developing excellence. Once we learned how to be excellent at this one thing, we uncovered the secret. The same attitudes and actions that created excellence in music worked on anything else we wanted to do. We just had to put our Hartzey into it. Little podunk cowtown Miles City had a pair of music educators that changed the lives of thousands. I'm going to speak specifically to Mr. Hartzey at this point. I became a band director because of him. I believe that every ounce of success I enjoyed in my music experience at the University of Montana, in Shelby, Montana, at the University of Southern California, at Hellgate High School, and in Missoula are because of some element of persistence, dogged determination, commitment to being truly excellent, never say die, always telling the truth even when it hurts, and caring about people. I tried to reproduce Ralph Hartzey in every rehearsal, every private lesson, concert, festival, and band trip. It seems to have worked. I asked several of my classmates to send me their favorite memories of band with Mr. Hartzey. Listen to what is being recalled here. He was able to critique without criticizing. His praise was reserved, but priceless when given. His sense of humor still puts alumni in stitches. Rules were clear and rules were enforced. He was a constant. Once I got to know him my freshman year, I don't think I was surprised by his behavior, except for its intensity. There was a banner behind the podium for all to see, which said, "Winning isn't everything, but it sure beats coming in second." And there was a small meme next to his office door that said, "One needs to wait with their mouth open a long time before a roast duck will fly in." These were not empty platitudes, but accurately described how he led and what he expected of others. Another says, "Looking back, without the positive experience of belonging to Hartzey's band, high school would have been drudgery and easily forgettable. He made you feel like you belonged to something good, something better, and something that was also the best." He brought out the best in his students. I excelled not because of an innate talent, but because I was inspired to work. And lastly, It didn't matter where you started. It was all about where you finished. We would prepare for District Music Festival and have scores of student solos and ensembles. Now remember, this is Miles City. There wasn't a wealth of private teachers. Mr. Hartzys coached every one of us. We had to perform to his satisfaction before we would be allowed to perform at the festival. In the weeks leading up to the festival, there were times when our solos and ensembles would have to sign up to be coached and pre-adjudicated. These sessions were in 15-minute intervals, starting right after school and going until late in the evening, like 10:30, 10:45, 11 o'clock, for days on end. My senior year, we had a particularly large number of student soloists and ensembles, and I remember a group of us signing up at 5:30 just so we could go to a local restaurant and order some food to bring him. He wouldn't take a dinner break. He didn't want us going past midnight. After a few days of this schedule, I remember being in a clarinet quartet where we came in around 10:30, and he had finally crashed, sound asleep at the judging table he'd set up. We sat down, looked at each other, looked at Mr. Hartzys, tuned, performed our piece, played it again to see if we could do it better, and then tiptoed out as the next group came in. He was the epitome of absolute, total dedication to what we were doing. He was my greatest mentor and gave me ultimately the best advice I could have in creating a foundation for my own career. I cannot thank Dr. Chris Hartzys enough for making this evening possible. To honor a man who is so deserving, but eschewed honors and notoriety. His spotlight was shared with his beloved wife, Norma, and their thousands of blessed singers and musicians. I frequently asked Ralph to come to Missoula to work with my high school bands at Hellgate, and asked both to adjudicate at our district festival. We developed a deep personal relationship, as we often had Ralph and Norma over to our home, where they more or less adopted our 3 daughters and kept in touch with them into adulthood. I've had the privilege of being under the baton of some amazing conductors. I've watched and been to countless concerts and seminars with world-class directors. None were greater teachers than my high school directors. Talk about setting a high bar early in your career. I often think what Ralph and Norma Hartzys could have done if they had set up shop in some larger district with all the bells and whistles that would have been provided. And then I shudder to think that this little cowpoke would have missed them. However, Ralph and Norma Hartzys came and stayed in Miles City, Montana, and my classmates and I are who we are because of it.
Well, Truman and John, thank you for that. It's going to be hard to top those. Thank you both for such heartfelt and wonderful remembrances of those days. Those of you who are in band, I think, can truly relate to what Truman and John have said tonight. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about my reasons for wanting to endow this position. There are moments in life which are indelible and which will remain with us forever. Tonight, for me, is one of those very memorable nights, not only for me, but also for former members of the Custer Band and for the citizens in Miles City. It is my immense privilege and honor to be here before the students and faculty of the University of Montana to commemorate my parents, Ralph and Norma Hartzys, in the creation of the Ralph J. and Norma M. Hartzys Endowed Professor of Bands. For 30, oh, thank you. For 30 years and beyond, they were truly the music of Miles City and the high school and the community. My mom and dad loved to grow things. They loved to grow beautiful flowers and vegetable gardens in the sizzling summer heat of eastern Montana. My dad also loved to grow his stamp collection, his coin collection, and his beloved model train layouts, which took up most of our basement. But most of all, and above all else, my parents loved growing the musicianship of young people and developing those personal values of hard work, persistence, and pride in a well-done job, which is necessary for success in later life. That was their joy. As John has pointed out, Miles City is not probably a spot that you would expect the development of beautiful music and appreciation for composers the likes of Verdi or Mozart or Schubert. But after spending a year in Darby, Montana, my mom and dad moved to Miles City in 1949 with such a mission in mind. Upon arriving in Miles City in 1949, the population was about 9,000 people, and my dad became the newly minted band director of the 23-piece Custer County High School Band. Former members from that very first band in 1949 recalled at a class reunion some of their first experiences, and I'd like to read to you a little bit from that. As a freshman at CCHS in 1949, I walked into the band room hoping I would be good enough to play in the band. Imagine my surprise when I heard them for the first time. They were awful. Apparently, quite a few of the kids had registered for band, planning on an easy credit. However, they did not know Ralph Hartzys, the new director. By the end of that year, they either changed their attitude or were no longer in band. Before Hartzys, the band was on life support. By 1953, we were big, bold, and beautiful at 75 pieces. I think I can speak for others when I say that we loved being in band. It was the best musical experience of my life and has stayed with me all these years. Those sentiments are repeated over and over by former members of the band. And again, remember, this is somebody who was in the very first band. So those people are not that young anymore. And they still remember the band with great affection. From these rather inauspicious beginnings, the band grew over the years to about 90 to 100 pieces and maintained that size for many years. Not only did the band grow in size, it grew in the excellence of its musicianship and in reputation. As Truman and John have mentioned, the full concert band formed the nucleus of the marching band with its precision marching shows at football games and in its marching capabilities in parades. No one was prouder than the Custer Band marching down Main Street of Miles City, Montana in blue and gold uniforms with gold plumes waving in the breeze on top of our hats as we marched with the high knee lift, as Truman so ably demonstrated. We, of course, did go to Portland and very remarkably won first place in the Grand Floral Parade at the Portland Rose Festival with 25 plus bands from the northwest being entered in that parade. Truman has described the pep band. The pep band was wildly popular all across Miles City and in Montana. I've often wondered how the pep band survived sometimes, because it was a very interesting organization. It was completely voluntary. You got no money, you got no award, you got no school credit. If you dared miss a rehearsal or a performance, you were kicked out, and yet people were just mad to get into the pep band. What we did get was great pride and great prestige in our school, and yet this was basically a volunteer organization that took up most weekends in the lives of high school students. So the pep band really became very popular, not only in school, but within the community. And Dad often said that the band was not his band, it was not the high school's band, it was your band, the community. He relied very much on the community to support the band. The community loved the band, and in return, the band supported many community activities. For these many students, over the years, my mom and dad do leave a lasting legacy, as I think you can appreciate from what Truman and John have said, not only of excellence in musicianship, but a legacy in developing those personal characteristics of discipline, hard work, and persistence, which are necessary for meeting challenge in any of life's endeavors. They were music educators, but they also educated their students in the lessons of life. Although we may not have remembered the fingerings on our instruments after many years, it is these life lessons which have stuck with us forever and which form the basis of character. They set high standards of excellence, and with their help, they gave us the courage and the expertise to meet these high standards and excel. One of my dad's favorite things that he would tell people when they may have been faltering a bit, if you give me your 100%, I give you my 110%. And he did give us his 110%. For the past few days, I have had the extraordinary opportunity to hear and observe the musical groups in practice, as well as to interact with students in the School of Music. It was extremely important to me that the legacy of my parents be carried forward and nurtured in an environment of excellence. After spending this time here at the university, I am completely confident that the School of Music at the University of Montana is the absolutely perfect place in which this treasured legacy of my parents should and must reside. I'm most grateful for the unqualified support of Dr. Lori Befsky, the Dean of the School of Arts and Media, for this new position, for the unqualified support of Dr. James Randall, Director of the School of Music, and for the same unqualified support of the entire music school faculty. I must add that not only have I had the opportunity to hear the outstanding orchestra, jazz band, Symphonic Wind Ensemble, and the chamber chorale, I must also mention that I had the very delightful experience of being able to spend an afternoon discussing oboe reed making with several oboe students of Dr. Jennifer Kavanaugh. Honestly, I have never been in one room with so many oboe players. And I was an oboe player. So this was a very special experience for me. All I can say to those students that I had the opportunity to talk with that day, what a fun time. And thank you guys for making my time with you truly one of the highlights of my trip. Before closing, I would like to take a moment to thank some additional persons who are here tonight. Thank you to Allison Schultz and Kate Sundin of the University of Montana Foundation for their hard work, particularly in the early stages in helping shepherd this position to fruition and to overcome my ignorance in this area. They were extremely helpful. Thank you to Dr. Smart, Millan, Duffy, and Tapper for allowing me to observe their rehearsals, and to the students who are the members of these groups. My family, including my sisters Lori and Paula, as well as my brother, he thinks he's my mother sometimes, as well as my brother Mark, are here. Mrs. Lois Hartzys, my aunt, was married to my father's only brother, Russell. She is here, as well as her children, my cousins, Mary, Carl, Hans, and Roy. It means so very much that you have come here to help celebrate this professorship. Finally, there is a group of extra special people who are here, as well as watching the live video stream at home. These are the former members of the Custer Band and Chorus who were students of my parents. I know you carry the lessons from my mother and father in your hearts as they carried memories of you in their hearts over the years. In closing, I would like to read a quote from my father from the November 1968 issue of the School Musician magazine, in which he was named one of the year's 10 outstanding high school band directors in the United States. I think these words still ring true, even after over 50 years. On many of my concert programs, I have included the following quote from The Republic by Plato. Musical training is a more potent instrument than any other because rhythm and harmony find their way into the inward place of the soul. This I firmly believe, with all of the implied requirements of discipline, loyalty, and dedication that go beyond the technical skills needed by students in instrumental music programs. While I rejoice in the high ratings and fine performances of my students, I find an even greater satisfaction when a former student returns years later, still interested in how the band is doing and feeling a wonderful sense of pride in once having been a member. I feel such virtues as the courage of a young soloist alone on a stage, the self-sacrifice of the bandsman who gives up a personal desire for the good of the band, and the dedication of the bandsman who, although unsuccessful, never stops trying for first chair, mold the character of young people and help to develop many of those qualities needed in life. If my mother and father were here today, they would be bursting with pride and gratitude to know that their many years of very hard work and dedication to music are recognized with this professorship at their alma mater. They truly gave of their authentic selves through the gift of music to their students and their community. I thank the University of Montana and the School of Music for this privilege of being here and for the honor of establishing the Ralph J. and Norma M. Hartzys Endowed Professor of Bands. I wish us all many more years of beautiful music. Thank you. Thank you.
We have one more person who made the trek to the Denison Theater tonight, and this is a surprise. And before we get to announce our 2022-2023 named scholarships, I would like to honor this moment of this really transformational gift by introducing the president of the University of Montana, Seth Bodner.
Good evening, everybody. And my name's Seth Bodner, and I am so proud to be with you all tonight, so honored to be with you all tonight. As Dean Bajewski said at the outset, this is a big deal. This is the first ever endowed professorship, not just in the School of Music, but in the College of Arts and Media. That is a big deal for the University of Montana, and I wouldn't have missed this for the world. But even more important than that, I'm so glad that I had the privilege to be here tonight to learn a little bit more about the life and impact of Ralph and Norma Hartzys. This week here at the University of Montana is a week that we call the Week of Excellence. Actually, we've had a series of events. We started this morning with an employee breakfast. We gave out awards. We celebrated the achievements, the incredible excellence of so many of our faculty, our staff. We celebrated and honored those faculty members who, this afternoon, we honored those faculty members who've been nominated for tenure, promotion. We'll give out a bunch of awards to students who've achieved excellence this year, and it's a wonderful week. And sitting and listening to the descriptions of Ralph and Norma, I thought, what a great week to have this scholarship award, because if there's one word that I think embodies the passion, particularly of Ralph, it sounds like, it truly was that, I was going to say commitment, but it's more than that. It sounds like it was a passion for excellence. And it's just so wonderful to hear about their stories, their impact. But many of you also likely know that this week is nationwide. This is Teacher Appreciation Week. Christina, like you, I was raised by two school teachers in a small town, slightly smaller than Miles City, a town I grew up at about 7,000 people. And so I had a front row seat to the life of a teacher. And hearing about your parents, the impact that they had in Miles City, Montana. I did not know it was KATL. I'm gonna tune in next time I'm through Miles City. I love going through Miles City, and I'm spending time in Miles City, not just going through, because you don't really go through Miles City. You go to Miles City, it struck me, I brought this up here with me, this picture, because I just look at those two individuals filled with clearly love for each other. But also love for their students. And Truman and John, thank you for sharing your stories. Because you heard tonight so clearly that the impact that they had on so many students. And some, like John, went on to careers in music. And others, like Truman, went on to fly commercial airliners. Yes. But all of them had that commitment to excellence. All of them were shaped profoundly by Ralph and Norma. And I am just so grateful, Christina, for your honoring them in such a meaningful way. This gift will in perpetuity support a committed shaper of our next generation, not just of musicians, but of leaders in so many different ways. So truly a special night for the University of Montana, and we are all honored by your generosity and by the opportunity for all of us to celebrate the life and impact of Ralph and Norma Hartzys. So thank you again for letting me be a part of it.
So it is fitting that we move now to announce the 2022-23 scholarship recipients, the named scholarships. And to do that this evening, it's my distinct honor to introduce to the stage for the first time the incoming new director of the School of Music, Dr. Jennifer Kavanaugh. Thank you. Well deserved. And she will be taking over the reins of Dr. James Randall, who is not able to join us tonight. He has a prior commitment. He's in containment. And he actually scripted much of tonight. He has had so much to do with this, and we really thank Dr. James Randall for his service for the last 3 years. He will be continuing as our associate director next year. So, James, I know you're listening. You're streaming from wherever you are tonight, and we look forward to what's next. And to tee up what's next, Dr. Jennifer Kavanaugh.
Thank you, Dean Bajewski, and James, Dr. Randall, especially from the School of Music faculty. We thank you for your service, and I am especially relieved that you're staying on as Associate Director. And we thank you for the work that went into this evening. I would also like to take this moment to recognize the entire School of Music faculty for their continued dedication to our program and to our students. Please stand so we can recognize you. And to all of our students, and especially to our graduating seniors, we are so proud of you and your extraordinary accomplishments that you've achieved this past year. You have shown resilience and grit, all with renovation underway, yay, in your spaces, but also dealing with continuing effects of COVID. Students, please stand so that we can recognize your incredible efforts. There are many highlights to celebrate, including tonight we had the wonderful opportunity to hear the UM Orchestra and our concerto winner, Sylvia Wood. We also congratulate additional winners, the OVA Saxophone Quartet, featuring Antonio Jarvi, Veronica Stimpling, Ali Fradkin, and Owen Kirby, as well as Mark Kreider, piano, who performed earlier this semester. We celebrated the Buddy DeFranco Festival back in person, bigger than ever, followed by the recent residency with renowned guest artist Ellen Rowe. After being postponed, I think twice due to COVID, a full opera production of Così fan tutte played to enthusiastic audiences. Chamber chorale performed by invitation at the Northwest ACDA Conference and was selected to compete this summer in the 2022 International Choral Competition in Marktoberdorf, Germany. I practiced that one. It didn't help. Faculty and students alike traveled throughout the Pacific Northwest and beyond, sharing music and presenting clinics which allowed us to reconnect with peers and colleagues after a long break due to the pandemic. She Loves Me, presented by the UM School of Theater and Dance and the School of Music, opened to rave reviews last week and runs through this weekend, so please go see it. It's fantastic. Visit grizztix.com online for more information. Project Earth stunned and inspired audience members and performers, setting a new bar, and I really believe this, for collaborative experiences for our students and faculty. Congratulations, students and faculty, on these exhilarating performances and the countless others throughout the year. We would also like to once again thank Drs. Luis Mian and James Smart, directors of the UM Orchestra and Symphonic Wind Ensemble, UM Jazz small groups under the direction of Professor Rob Tapper and Dr. Johan Eriksson, Will Rush, our music program coordinator, Melissa Ryman, our fiscal director, absolutely, Torg Torgerson and team, director of the Denison Theater, for his assistance with lighting, video, and sound, and to Nick Barr for providing our live stream this evening. Most importantly, thank you to our wonderful student performers. One more round of applause for them, please. And to our donors, we simply could not do this without you. Your generous support is recognized. As mentioned earlier, we were able to support $200,000 in scholarship awards and fee waivers last year. Please, our support is stand so we can recognize you. And now the fun part. Each year, by vote of the full faculty in the School of Music, we select outstanding students to receive our most prestigious scholarships. This is always an incredibly difficult decision because we have so many students who are deserving. The largest individual award to be offered by the School of Music at the University of Montana is the prestigious Presser Scholarship. The Presser family is associated notably with the music publishing business. The foundation bearing its name supports scholarships at a number of distinguished American universities, and we are pleased that UM continues to be among them. This award is voted on by the music faculty, and the recipient is accorded the honor of being the UM Presser Scholar. I am so happy to announce that our next UM Presser Scholar is Sylvia Wood. Sylvia, if you could please make your way to the stage while I say a few words about you. Sylvia is earning a Bachelor of Music in Flute Performance and a Bachelor in Music and Composition with piano as her primary instrument. She is an outstanding scholar, performer, and composer. Sylvia truly embodies the spirit of the Presser Award through her dedication to multiple areas of the School of Music and her strong presence as a leader among her peers. She has been a member of the Symphonic Wind Ensemble and the UM Flute Choir and has performed with the Missoula Symphony Orchestra. Significant accomplishments include performances in the final round of the Concerto Aria competition in 2022 and 21 on both flute and piano, and second place awards in the Montana Flute Festival, both in 2021 and 22, competing against masters and doctoral students from major universities across the United States. Additionally, she has had several premieres of new compositions, including substantial contributions to the woodwind repertoire. As a pianist, Sylvia has been a featured artist in the annual Pianissimo concerts, is a highly sought-after collaborative pianist in the School of Music, and performs regularly as a soloist, including this evening, of course, as the winner of our 2022 Concerto Aria competition. Sylvia, if you're here, please come up and receive your award. Thank you. I will give that to her when I see her next. Our second named award is the Candy Paris Memorial Scholarship. For many years, a number of UM's music students have been supported with funds generated from an endowed establishment by Mr. and Mrs. Lee Paris of Minneapolis, Minnesota. This named scholarship is presented annually in memory of their daughter, Candy, formerly a music student at the University of Montana. We are very grateful to the Paris family for providing our students this significant and continued high level of support. This year's Candy Paris Memorial Scholarship goes to Sean Stiniford. Sean is a junior in the School of Music and is a gifted trombonist pursuing a double major in music performance and jazz studies. Sean performs in numerous ensembles, including the UM Symphony Orchestra, Symphonic Wind Ensemble, Jazz Ensemble 1, Celebration Brass Quintet, Marching Band, and Pep Band. He is the epitome of a student who walks the walk in terms of professionalism, preparedness, and self-motivation and growth. Congratulations, Sean. Our final named awards tonight come to us from the generosity of the Simmons family, the Don Simmons Music Education Scholarship. The Simmons family established the scholarship in honor and memory of Donald Simmons, former faculty member, Department of Music Chair, and Associate Dean of the School of Fine Arts. In 1973, Don moved with his family to Missoula to chair the UM Music Department, which is now the School of Music, and he served as choral director and music educator. All three of the Simmons children graduated from UM. In his 22 years of service to UM, Don was much loved and respected by faculty, colleagues, and students. He was an enthusiastic teacher, a talented conductor, a dedicated administrator, and mentor to colleagues and students. After his retirement, Don continued his strong work for arts education and lifelong learning in the community through his advocacy of the flagship program in the public schools and in his teaching in the Montana Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. One could always find Don and his wife Pat actively supporting faculty and students at musical and theater events, and we really miss both of them, don't we? It is fitting that the scholarship provides support for our outstanding music education majors. The Don Simmons Music Education Scholarship is awarded to a music education major entering their junior year and provides 2 years of support. Last year's recipient, now entering his senior year, is Jacob Logan. Here to offer Jacob their congratulations via video are Don Simmons' sons. David Simmons is a graduate of the UM School of Music and founder and executive director of the UBU Project, an arts education outreach organization whose mission is the prevention of youth suicide, addiction, and bullying. J.K. Simmons, also a graduate of the UM School of Music, where he studied voice and composition, is a Golden Globe and Oscar-winning actor.
Hi. Super excited to announce that the returning Don Simmons Scholarship recipient is Jacob Logan. Jacob's going to be a senior at the University of Montana as a music education major. He is an amazingly talented student and musician, pursuing a BM in bassoon performance, the burping bedpost, go for it, and a BME with voice as his major instrument. Over the past 2 years, he has participated in a large number of ensembles in order to become the best music teacher he can possibly be. I will let my brother take it from here.
Big breath. SWE, Marching Band, Orchestra, Chamber Chorale, University Choir, Opera Theater, and Percussion Ensemble, which does beg the question, is the bassoon a percussion instrument? Or is the human voice a percussion instrument? Or is he like me, because I did participate in percussion ensemble on one concert during my illustrious University of Montana music department career, and I played the slide whistle. Thank you very much.
He has a 3.86 GPA because he's an overachiever and has excelled in his academic classes, hence the 3.86 GPA. This semester, he was an absolute hit in the lead role of something I can't pronounce, so I'm going to turn it back over to my brother.
And this semester, apparently he excelled and was quite a hit as Guglielmo in Così fan tutte by Mr. Mozart. Congrats, Jacob.
Jacob, Simmons family is honored to have you as a Don Simmons Education Scholarship recipient.
Jacob is performing in the pit orchestra for She Loves Me this evening and is not able to join us, but we offer our biggest congratulations to him again. And now, to present this year's incoming recipient of the Don Simmons Music Education Scholarship, we welcome back to the screen David and J.K. Simmons.
Hi, me again. The new Rising Junior Don Simmons Scholarship recipient this year is, drum roll please, Marion Kale. Student of violin and viola faculty member Margaret Baldridge. Marion is a violinist from Billings, Montana. She'll be a junior music ed and music performance major this fall. Another double major. What a beautiful thing. She is in the Davidson Honors College as well and pursuing a history minor.
Hi, I'm back too. Me again. So, Marion is a leader both in the UM School of Music and for the University of Montana at large. She's an advocate for U of M, giving daily tours and telling prospective students and their prospective bill-paying parents how great the University of Montana is. Marion has been a counselor for UM Summer Strings Camp, is currently the treasurer for the UM American String Teachers Association Collegiate Chapter, and is running the UM Upper String Studio social media presence, which I can't do because I'm a boomer. JK?
She's been in many music ensembles such as UMSO and marching band. Marion is also a member of the Missoula. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Again, with the double thing, you're a violinist in the marching band? Must be another multi-talented, multi-instrumentalist. Marion is also a member of the Missoula Symphony violin section and has performed in chamber groups for String Orchestra of the Rockies Educational Outreach.
Oh, hi, I don't have anything to add. I think JK's doing a great job, don't you? Give it up for JK.
As a member of the Davidson Honors College, Marion has volunteered for non-musical activities on campus as well, such as the Geography Bee that UM hosted for middle schoolers. According to her professors, she is consistently among the best, if not the best prepared, best organized, and most driven students in all of her classes. She is professional in all situations, and everyone has been impressed by her talents as a violinist as well as a future music educator. Congratulations, Marion.
Yes, indeed, Marion. Congratulations. We're proud of you.
They're still clapping somewhere. Thank you for being with us tonight. Dr. Hartzys, once again, thank you so much. It's been such an honor and a privilege to get to know you these last few days. And it's been so incredible to be able to remember and honor Ralph and Norma Hartzys. We are so grateful that you were here with us, and please now join us in the Denison lobby for a reception where we can share more memories and enjoy music provided by the Lance Boyd Silver Jazz Combo. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.